Have you ever wondered how some of the biggest companies in the world, with massive budgets and expert teams, still end up exposing sensitive data online? What if I told you it's often not because hackers broke in, but because something was simply left open? Welcome to Bluehat Cybersec Academy. Today, we're diving into one of the most overlooked yet dangerous threats in modern cybersecurity: cloud misconfiguration. Cloud computing has completely transformed how organizations build, deploy, and scale applications. But along with that power comes a new kind of risk, one that's surprisingly simple: cloud misconfigurations. Unlike advanced cyber attacks or zero-day exploits, these vulnerabilities often come down to small, everyday mistakes. Yet, they are responsible for some of the biggest data breaches in recent years. In this guide, we'll go deep. You'll understand what cloud misconfiguration really is, why it happens, how attackers exploit it, and, most importantly, how to prevent it. What is cloud misconfiguration? At its core, it means incorrect, insecure, or poorly managed settings in a cloud environment that expose systems, data, or services to risk. And these misconfigurations can exist in many places. They might be in storage systems, identity and access controls, network settings, APIs, cloud services, or even encryption policies. The key idea is simple. The cloud itself isn't insecure, but the way you configure it can make it vulnerable. Why cloud misconfiguration is a major threat? Cloud misconfiguration isn't rare. In fact, it's one of the leading causes of cloud security incidents today. A significant portion of breaches happen not because of sophisticated attacks, but because something was simply left open. Most of these errors are caused by human mistakes, not failures from cloud providers. And here's the critical takeaway. Cloud providers secure the infrastructure, but you are responsible for securing how it's configured. That distinction is where many organizations go wrong. Common misconfigurations and their impact. First, publicly exposed storage buckets. This is one of the most well-known issues. Cloud storage, like object buckets, gets accidentally set to public access. That means sensitive files, customer data, and even credentials can be accessed by anyone on the internet. And yes, this has caused multiple major data breaches. Next, overly permissive IAM policies. This happens when users, applications, or services are granted more access than they actually need. The result? Attackers can escalate privileges, move deeper into systems, and take control of critical resources. This directly violates the principle of least privilege, which is a core concept in cybersecurity. Then, unsecured APIs. APIs are everywhere in cloud environments, but when they're misconfigured, they can allow unauthorized access, leak sensitive data, or become entry points for attackers. Think of an exposed API like leaving a door unlocked without realizing it. Another big one is open network ports and weak firewalls. Improper network configurations can expose internal systems to the public internet. Attackers actively scan for these openings, and once found, they can exploit vulnerable services quickly. Disabled logging and monitoring is also a major problem. If logging isn't enabled, you lose visibility. Attacks can go unnoticed, suspicious activity isn't tracked, and investigations become extremely difficult. In many real-world cases, breaches aren't discovered until months later. Failing to encrypt data is another critical mistake. Without encryption, data at rest is exposed, data in transit can be intercepted, and compliance requirements may be violated, and of course, default credentials and weak authentication. Leaving default credentials unchanged is an easy win for attackers. Combined with weak authentication, accounts can be compromised quickly, and automated attacks become effective. So, why do misconfigurations happen? Well, these mistakes don't usually happen on purpose. They're really the result of multiple real-world challenges. Most often, it's just human error. Simple things like misclicks, forgotten settings, or misunderstood configurations can honestly lead to some pretty serious exposure. Then there's cloud complexity. Modern cloud platforms are incredibly powerful, but they're also, complex, with thousands of configuration options and deep interdependencies between services. This complexity makes it really easy to overlook something critical. Lack of expertise is another factor. Many teams are still learning cloud security and may sometimes apply traditional security approaches that just don't fit the cloud. Rapid deployment pressure also plays a role. Organizations want to move fast, deploying quickly and iterating fast, and sometimes they skip security checks along the way. And finally, poor visibility and monitoring. Without proper tools, misconfigurations go unnoticed, and environments drift over time. What was once secure can slowly become vulnerable. Now, here's the scary part. Attackers don't always need advanced skills. Often, they just scan the internet for exposed cloud resources, identify misconfigured services, and then access data or escalate privileges. Some common techniques include accessing public storage, exploiting weak IAM roles, stealing credentials from metadata services, or using open ports to gain entry. Because these are so easy to find, they're often called low-hanging fruit in cybersecurity. The consequences of cloud misconfigurations can be, well, severe and far-reaching. Data breaches are the most obvious. Sensitive data like customer information, financial records, or intellectual property can be exposed, and these breaches can cost millions. Financial loss is another consequence, including both direct damage and unexpected cloud costs from abuse, like crypto mining. Compliance violations can also occur. Failing to secure data can break regulations like GDPR, HIPAA, or PCI DSS, which can lead to fines and legal consequences. Reputation damage is a bit harder to quantify, but just as serious. Trust is hard to rebuild, and honestly, a single breach can damage a brand and drive customers away. Service disruption is another risk. Misconfigurations can lead to downtime, interrupted services, and lost business operations. The shared responsibility model is, honestly, one of the most misunderstood concepts in cloud security. Now, cloud providers take care of the physical infrastructure, data centers, and hardware security. But, you are actually responsible for things like configurations, access control, and data protection. The key point here is that misconfigurations are entirely your responsibility. So, how do you actually prevent cloud misconfigurations? Well, first, follow the principle of least privilege. Only give access that is absolutely necessary, and, review permissions regularly. Enable continuous monitoring with tools like cloud security, posture management, and SIEM systems to detect issues in real time. Automate security checks using infrastructure as code scanning and automated compliance validation to really cut down on human error. Encrypt everything, whether it's data at rest or in transit. Perform regular audits and penetration testing. Remember, security should be ongoing, not just a one-time effort. Always secure default configurations. Never trust the defaults. Make sure you harden your environment. Strengthen identity security with multi-factor authentication and role-based access control. And finally, enable logging and alerts. Visibility is absolutely critical to track activity and respond to threats early. The key takeaway here is that cloud misconfiguration is dangerous, not because it's complex, but because it's so simple and easy to overlook. Just one small mistake can expose massive amounts of data. Modern security really requires a shift, from reacting to incidents to proactively managing configurations. Now let me ask you something. If a cloud storage bucket is left public and it contains sensitive customer data, is that a hacking attack or a configuration failure? And here's another one. Who is responsible for securing cloud configurations? The cloud provider or you? Think about it and drop your answers in the comments. Real cybersecurity isn't just about tools. It's about awareness and the decisions you make every day. If you found this helpful and want to go deeper into cloud security concepts, real-world threats, and hands-on protection strategies, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and continue the journey with our cloud security playlist. Let's build smarter, safer systems together.